What's up, everyone, and welcome to the final part of Sex, Love and Relationship here, my three-part series. This one is going to be talking about relationships, and again, this is a very kind of this is kind of strange because there's many different stance on relationships, what they mean, and different types of it. The footage you're seeing here is just a team deathmatch on a hotel on the Escalation map pack, which you can download from Xbox Live and or PlayStation Network, the PSN store if it's back online, and running around with the dual wield scorpions. Hopefully you enjoy the footage. Relationships. Now there's different types of relationships. There's relationships where you're actually with someone you consider to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and there's also an array of other things, like you've got sex buddies as well, or fuck buddies, however you want to pronounce it. But we're going to just mostly go on to the fact of a relationship, like when you're actually with someone, it's considered as as partners.
Counter spy plan up.
In order for the relationship to sort of work out, there's very much foundations have to be set stone in stone. Now, it's not they don't have to be set stone in stone. It's just that common fucking has to apply as to what the relationship means. The relationship doesn't exist, and this is a true, and I think my other half will agree with me. If there's no trust, the relationship will never work.
No, it's fucked.
Yep, you agree. It will never work. It's just no ends. However long, even if you just continuously say, oh, but the trust will grow. The trust will grow, but the initial trust has to be there. Okay, in order for you to be with someone, the trust has to be there, and if it's not, the relationship will never last. If the trust genuinely grows from point to point to point till it becomes like you just trust them completely, then props to you. You've got a lot of time in your hands to grow that trust, and I respect you for it. I think my other half trusts me 99%. Yeah, 99. I same as well. I mean, I'm 99%. We all keep little icky bicky secrets, or but life and tell, that's
life.
That's life. You can't expect your other half to tell you 100% of everything and trust you. That there's certain things in life. Like if you was with someone who wasn't good. If someone had a history of drug taking and they didn't want you to know about it, you had a heroin addiction or whatever, and they don't want you knowing about it, they might not trust you enough to tell you that. It's just certain things. That's just an example, of certain things. But like I said, the relationship without trust will never work. Now, also, here's another thing that it's kind of going to swing back to sex, but it's sort of we'll deviate away from it very quickly. In a relationship, does sex really matter? Now, for me personally, I don't think sex is always considered a bonus in a relationship. Yeah, it's consider sex is not a necessity within a relationship. I mean, obviously, clearly, if I will sit here, I'm going to put my neck out here. If you're with someone and they decide to, they don't want sex with you, but they decide that it'd be clever enough to, sit there and get you all heated and turned on, then I kind of think, that's kind of deservedly you need to give them a bit of a fucking hiding, because that for me is a bit of an insult. If I'm brutally honest, that's a bit of an insult, and it shouldn't be the case. If it's just a general relationship, like for example, you're both very happy, you're both very comfortable, and sex is not matter, sex is not the key, then fine, fair enough. You're going to have a very strong relationship. But trust is a key. It's a very much a key issue. I don't say it's a key issue. It's.
Our spy planes in the air.
I feel like
What? No, I agree. It's a majority percentage. It's very much you either. If you don't trust them, then it's an epic fail. The relationship's going to die. And the thing is that when you're in a relationship, because believe it or not, I say this, I could be wrong, but it generally starts with relationships, sex, then love. You generally get in a relationship. I mean, was in a relationship first, weren't we?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weren't we? I just fucked it completely then. Right, well in that case, I've just completely shagged my theory then. I said majority of the time, it generally, you don't actually have sex with that person until you're in a relationship with them.
SR-71 ready for
Majority.
deployment.
Majority of the time. You occasionally get these random moments of madness where you decide that you're going to have sex with them, then get into a relationship with them, and
Test out the goods first, baby.
test out the goods. So, I want to get this straight here because this is something I'm going to... So you're telling me that if the goods weren't good, you... That's horseshit. Because, no, as you said, sex is the bonus. So this is what I mean. Sex should come after.
Should do, but in real life it doesn't happen.
I need to
like
have a
that.
word with you about that because I don't think you're correct on that. I think we was in a relationship.
Right, first one.
Counter spy plane standing
Yep.
by.
You had sex with me. We weren't in a relationship then. You
They bomb strike awaiting orders.
Were we not?
No.
They bomb strike coming in.
Yeah, it's just...
Enemy care package
Yeah.
incoming.
Shagged your theory.
Counter spy plane up. They're blind.
Maybe so. But no. Like I said, majority of the way of putting it is that generally the relationship comes first, then it's the sex, then it's the love. In my case, it's gone... my case is different. I mean, when I say my case is different, I did not... sex come second. Sex comes second with me. And the reason that being is because I actually fell in love with my other half, then had sex with her, then got in a relationship. That's not the right way to do it. It's awkward, complicated, you don't want to go there with that. But what I'm talking about here is that you're supposed to get into a relationship with them, get to know each other, you know, get talking, enjoy a conversation, and, you know, making sure you both know each other in and out. Don't take that you're dirty-minded, that euphemism there.
Friendly RC
So, you know, get to know each other, then have sex, then work your way to building up to falling in love or being in love with that person. I've done it completely cockeyed. She's done it completely cockeyed as well, or tit-eyed, or whatever you want to call it for a female. But me and my other half have done it completely different, and I think that's what kind of makes
Enemy care package
us as
incoming.
individuals quite different, because we haven't done things the proper way. That's not really. There's no proper way of doing it. Don't get me wrong. If you don't want to do it that way, fine. You know, if you want to have sex with them, then fall in love with them, then get into a relationship with them, or
Enemy spy plane
by all means
incoming.
go for it. If you want to get into a relationship, fall in love with them, then have sex with them, fine. You can do that. You know, there's no end to ways of doing it. You know, but I will give you kind of a little tip here, and this is a big
We
tip.
almost
Okay.
got this. Push harder.
Before you get into a relationship, there's generally what you call the first kiss, and the first kiss, and this is for a woman. The guy generally doesn't get this kind of feeling, okay, majority of the time, but it's more for the women. When you very first kiss a woman, believe me, that kiss tells that woman pretty much the majority of things about you.
Yep.
So, in that client, let's say the first kiss is
Counter spy
The
plane
most
standing
important.
the
by.
most important. Anyway, people, thank you very
Good job,
much
team.
for
We executed the mission perfectly.
tuning in and watching this 3-part series. This is Unstable. I am off.